now, you're not supposed to shame. You're not supposed to fat shame. You're not supposed to slut shame. They're like shaming. Like people aren't supposed to walk around with any shame. It's like a legitimate human emotion, but you're not supposed to feel it at all. You know, you're supposed to just walk around like a dictator. You're not going to feel any shame. You never felt shame.
Bill Burr's unfiltered take on woke culture. Bill Burr is a comedic force who doesn't shy away from tackling the absurdities of modern culture, especially cancel culture and the concept of wokeism. With his signature humor, he dives deep into controversial topics, leaving no stone unturned. In this blog, we'll explore Burr's bold critiques, focusing on his observations about cancel culture, societal trends, and the roles different groups play within these discussions.
Probably get canceled for doing that joke, you know? How stupid is that cancel thing? They're literally running out of people to cancel. They're going after dead people now. They're trying to cancel John Wayne. It's like, yeah, dude, God did that 40 years ago. They're all up in arms. They're like, did you hear what he said in that interview in Playboy in 1970? Can you believe that? It's like, yeah. He was born in 1907. That's what these people sounded like. You never talked to your grandparents and brought up the wrong subject, and all of a sudden it went off the rails. Like, oh, grandma. Just keep making the cookie.
The absurdity of cancel culture. One of the main themes in Burr's comedy is the ridiculousness of cancel culture. He points out how the phenomenon has escalated to the point of retroactively canceling historical figures like John Wayne. Burr humorously notes, they're literally running out of people to cancel, highlighting the absurdity of targeting someone who has been dead for decades. Burr reflects on how cancel culture began with good intentions, aiming to hold people accountable for their actions. However, he argues that it has spiraled out of control, transforming into a weapon used to intimidate and bully individuals into submission. He asserts, it's less about making the world better and more about who can we ruin today. This shift in focus is a critical point Burr emphasizes throughout his routine. Intimidation and bullying in activism. As Burr critiques the current state of activism, he notes that even those on the same side of the political spectrum have become unhinged. He describes a situation where someone on his side of the fence seems to have lost their sanity, saying, it's strange when even the people you agree with make you double-check your sanity. This sentiment resonates with many who feel overwhelmed by the intensity of social justice movements today.
It started with something good, you know, and then was quickly co-opted by people with their own interest, and then it just completely lost its way. And like,
but is it good though? Because comedians were usually the ones that
I think,
didn't care
you know,
about it. Like
if
talk about everything, make you laugh, you know.
But if there was people, no, the initial thing that there's these people out there sexually abusing people, like that was good to get rid of those people. That wasn't bad. But then all of a sudden it spun into, what are you talking about in your act? You know, I worked with an actor. She got canceled for an analogy.
Well,
and it was all politics. The girl on Star Wars.
He argues that some activists have taken it upon themselves to dictate what can and cannot be joked about, leading to an environment where comedians censor each other. Burr quips, that's like having a clown convention where no one's allowed to wear red noses. This analogy captures the irony of woke culture. Burr doesn't hold back when discussing the role of white women in the woke movement. He provocatively states, white women somehow hijack the woke movement, suggesting that the original intentions of the movement have been overshadowed by their complaints. He describes a scenario where white women have positioned themselves at the forefront of discussions about oppression, despite the movement being initially focused on people of color. He sarcastically comments on the trivial struggles of white women, saying, I had no idea how difficult it was to be a white woman in the United States of America. This statement highlights the disparity in experiences between different demographics and critiques the way some individuals leverage their privilege to dominate narratives about oppression. The contradictions of inclusivity.
White women here, shall we? Let's talk white women. White women, you're amazing. Amazing, your accomplishments over the last few years. I gotta tell you, the way white women somehow hijack the woke movement, generals around the world should be analyzing this. Just to refresh your memory, the woke movement was supposed to be about people of color, not getting opportunities, the at-bats that they deserved, finally making that happen. And it was about that for about 8 seconds. And then somehow, white women swung their Gucci-booted feet over the fence of oppression and stuck themselves at the front of the line. I don't know how they did it. I've never heard so much complaining in my life from white women. My life is so hard with my SUV and my heated seats. You have no idea what it's like to be me. Trash and white guys, the nerve. Where's the camera? The nerve of you white women.
Burr also addresses the contradictions within inclusivity movements. He points out that while many advocate for inclusivity, it often feels exclusive in practice. He states, it's inclusivity with a side of take a hike, pal, emphasizing how some movements can turn into power grabs rather than genuine attempts at inclusivity. This idea leads to a deeper discussion about the nature of activism and how it can sometimes veer off course, becoming more about control than about genuine progress. Burr's observations encourage listeners to question the motivations behind certain movements and the people leading them. Trans sports, Burr tackles the wage gap between male and female athletes. He recounts a conversation he heard where a female soccer player expressed confusion over why she and her peers don't earn as much as their male counterparts. Burr passionately argues, you don't sell any tickets, pointing out that the revenue generated by male sports far surpasses that of women's sports. This perspective sheds light on the economic realities of sports and the importance of market demand in determining salaries. Burr's straightforward approach to this topic provides a refreshing take on a commonly discussed issue: body positivity and modern bravery. Burr also dives into the body positivity movement, critiquing the celebration of plus-size models and the concept of bravery associated with it. He argues that calling it brave.
I saw a woman a couple months back, professional soccer player, right? She goes on to ESPN or one of these sports channels, and she starts bitching, going like, I don't understand, how come female athletes don't make as much as male professional athletes? Right? And all of these men had to sit there and act like they didn't know what the answer was. They had to sit there like dumbfounded, like, oh, I don't know. Why is that? That is a conundrum. I have no idea. Literally, I'm sitting at home screaming at the TV because you don't sell any fucking tickets. Nobody is going to women's soccer games. You're playing in a 20,000-seat arena. 1,500 people show up. That's not a good night. The promoter lost his fucking ass on that.
To be a plus-size model is an overreach, contrasting it with traditional definitions of bravery, such as saving people from burning buildings. He humorously suggests that the modern complaints about body image seem trivial compared to real-life struggles, saying, we've got people whining about having to shed a few pounds for a movie role while halfway across the world kids are dealing with real problems. This perspective encourages a shift in focus towards more pressing global issues. Inclusion a mirror to society. Bill Burr's comedy serves as a mirror reflecting the absurdities of contemporary culture. His unapologetic style and sharp observations challenge audiences to think critically about the issues at hand. Whether one agrees with him or not, his ability to tackle sensitive topics with humor and honesty makes his commentary both impactful and entertaining. In a world saturated with political correctness and outrage, Burr's brand of comedy reminds us to find humor in the chaos and question the narratives we often accept without scrutiny. As he continues to push boundaries, audiences are left laughing, cringing, and reflecting on their own beliefs and values.
Happened to me that changed my life. I did a gig in India, right? Unbelievably great people, but some of the stuff that I saw there, I'll never forget. I did a gig in India. I saw a toddler take a shit between two parked cars, walked away, no pants or parents, and then disappeared into the crowd like Hannibal Lecter at the end of Silence of the Lambs. It's one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen in my life. And then I come back to my country and it's like, oh, the studio said I had to lose 15 pounds to star in a movie. Well, then start running, you fat fuck. That's your big complaint in life?